You take the others who are made to think but who can't act. You take... I swallowed a bug.
Hi guys, welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about Apocalypse Now.
You're looking at the heads. Sometimes he goes too far, you know, and he's the first one to admit it.
He's going crazy.
Wrong. If you could have heard the man just 2 days ago, if you could have heard a man, God, you were going to call him crazy?
Fucking A.
They get towards the end of this film, in terms of filming it, finally, after all these damn setbacks that they've gone through, their saving grace. They're going to have the best actor that's ever lived, Marlon Brando, in the final act of their film.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
Marlon Brando is on $1 million contract. What does that mean? Well, at the time, Marlon Brando was doing $1 million per week for his services, for his work as an actor. And they had him for 3 weeks.
The clock was ticking on this deal he had. We had to finish him within 3 weeks or we'd go into a very expensive overage.
This character had been built up to be, like they'd already filmed these scenes where they described him as kind of being like this, you know, extremely athletic person.
They must have thought he was some far-out old man humping it over that course. I did it when I was 19. It damn near wasted me. A tough motherfucker.
When Francis Coppola hired Marlon Brando to play this role, he was already overweight.
And he promised me that he was going to get in shape, but he was so fat, he was very, very shy about it. And immediately when I saw him, I said, well, I'll write this as a man who really, had indulged every aspect of himself. So he was fat, and he had 2 or 3, tribal girls with him. And he was very, very adamant about he didn't want to portray himself that way. So, I mean, clearly he had just kind of left me in a tough spot.
And they did hide his weight pretty well in the movie. You know, the behind-the-scenes footage really give away that he's bigger than he comes off in the movie. He's already a tall man, but he was quite overweight, and they overall they did a pretty decent job of hiding that. Francis Coppola sits down with him and learns pretty quickly that Marlon Brando has not read the script, or at least has not memorized his lines, but more has notes, and these notes are rather esoteric, as Francis Coppola kind of describes them.
Marlon's basic notes, as I understood them, as I just glanced at them, were all motivation things. I mean, in other words, it's like getting into saying, well, why is he going on a boat? And I can't answer them because it's too late for me to change the structure.
Then it becomes clear that Marlon Brando has not even read the book, Heart of Darkness, of which the screenplay is based. Shit. Marlon Brando has no idea what's going on.
One of the things Francis said to Marlon in the beginning, Read Heart of Darkness, this is what we're going for. Of course, after Francis had some dialogues with him, he realized that Marlon had never read Heart of Darkness, and it was a complete shock.
Francis Coppola and Marlon Brando got on a boat, the two of them, and took off.
And Francis said, we got to stop shooting, and basically went off for a week with I call it the $1 million riverboat scene, where they go off and pay Marlon $1 million, and 900 people sit and wait. Well, I think, it's my own opinion, that Francis read him the book, Heart of Darkness.
No one knows what happened on that boat ride, really. But they came back and Marlon Brando was ready to shoot. But then also Marlon Brando would hold things up and spend hours talking about the character in the middle of shooting scenes, and they would set the whole crew back, and he took a lot of time.
So the whole company was sitting up on the set around the camera, the crew all poised to go and shoot, and Francis and Marlon would be talking about the character. And whole days would go by.
And they decided pretty quickly that instead of fighting with Marlon Brando every day, they would just let him improvise.
There's a place in the river, I can't remember. Must have been a gardenia plantation or flower plantation at one time. It's all wild and overgrown now, but for about 5 miles, you'd think that heaven just fell on the earth in the form of gardenias.
It worked out, but they ended up with a lot of footage that makes no sense because it doesn't fit the plot of the movie, because it's improvised. So there's a lot of footage that they couldn't use. And Francis Coppola was like, we're just going to shoot copious amounts of footage and hopefully some of this sticks. Hopefully some of it makes some kind of sense.
It's irresistible when a bee discovers honey. He is irresistibly driven. My friend laughs. He's my critic. My only critic. Perhaps outside of myself.
Sure. It's weird, but it's oddly cool and prophetic. And a lot of the things that he says are like that throughout the movie.
These men who fought with their hearts, who have families, who have children, who are filled with love, but they have the strength. The strength.
When all was said and done, they actually got some really cool shit. They got some really cool dialogue from Marlon Brando. He actually said stuff that was kind of in line with the character, and it made it pretty cool. And this character was supposed to be insane. This character was described as being off the boat.
Kurtz got off the boat. He split from the whole fucking program.
I feel like if you had no idea who Marlon Brando was, and all you knew of him was the behind-the-scenes stories and footage from Apocalypse Now, you would probably hate him. Because he was a diva. and he caused a lot of setbacks and cost a lot of money.
I can't think of any more dialogue to say.
And he also had a little bit of issues with Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper at the time was... He was on another planet.
I was not in the greatest of shape, as far as my career was concerned. It was delightful to hear that I was going to go do anything, anywhere.
Another really cool behind the scenes thing about this movie is that towards the end of the film, Martin Sheen's character is sneaking into the compound in order to assassinate Colonel Kurtz, Marlon Brando's character. And during this sequence of him sneaking in, and it's nighttime, and he's, he just comes out of the shadows and cuts a guy's throat and pulls the guy into the shadows kind of thing. Anyways, while that's going down, there's this ritual sacrifice that the native people that Colonel Kurtz has kind of become like their king, their god of. These native people are sacrificing a bull or an ox or something with horns. It's a cow of sorts. It's a cow. These people are actual natives that they hired. It was cheaper to hire the native people, the locals, than it was to dress up actors every day. And so they had the actual locals there, and so they actually sacrificed this animal. The reason I'm bringing all this up is because it's interesting that Francis Coppola's wife is filming behind-the-scenes footage with a personal camera that she has, which is a lot of what makes up that documentary that I mentioned, Heart of Darkness.
My greatest fear is to make a really embarrassing, pompous film on an important subject, and I am doing it.
One of the things that she did on one of their off days was she asked the locals if she could participate, or not participate, but film their sacrifice and their ceremony that they were partaking in. She was so fascinated with this sacrifice and this event that really was taking place that she encouraged Francis Coppola, her husband, to put at least part of it into the movie. And then, of course, he made it atmospheric. They changed it from day to night, and they did various different things with the lighting and everything, and they made it look really good. And it's this really cool scene that spawned spontaneously from being in this area, from the locals that were actually there. And it's just a really interesting scene because of that, because it was not part of the script. It just kind of made its way in as a natural and organic thing, and that's how a lot of this movie was made, as a natural and organic moment.
The man's enlarged my mind. He's a poet, warrior in the classic sense. I mean, sometimes he'll, you say hello to him, right? And he'll just walk right by you, and he won't even notice you. And then suddenly he'll grab you, and he'll throw you in a corner, and he'll say, do you know that if is the middle word in life? If you can keep your head when all about you're losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you. I mean, I can't, I'm a little man. He's a great man. I should have been a pair of ragged claws scuttling across floors of silent seas. I mean...
Stay with the boat.
Hey, don't go without me, okay? I want to get a picture.
This movie is just really, really cool because it is so authentic, and because they were allowed to, for instance, learn their lines and then forget them and kind of work with what they knew about their character, it creates a very realistic feeling movie. There are people talking over each other in a lot of scenes and stuff like that, and the actors are so good that they don't get distracted by something like that. They actually allow it to flow and be organic, like a real conversation is, or like a real argument. There's a scene where they act as a patrol boat and they stop to do a routine inspection, and oh my god, it ends in brutal violence, but there's the moments leading up to that are a lot of yelling and talking over each other, and a lot of this was improvised and not necessarily scripted, and so it made for a very organic sounding argument, for instance.
What's in that vegetable basket? Don't talk. Get out of here. Come on. Get over here. Sheriff, check that vegetable basket.
All right. Shut up, Slow. There ain't nothing in here.
What's in the boxes? Look in the tin can.
Nothing.
That rusty can.
Just fucking rice, and that's all. There ain't nothing on it.
Yellow can. Check the yellow can. She was sitting on it. What's in it?
Again, that's how a lot of this movie went. A lot of it was... They followed the script and they knew generally what they were doing, but for the most part, a lot of this dialogue was improvised, and that's really, really cool that this movie was able to pull that off in such a unique way.
I've had the whole goddamn fucking shit, man. Just kiss my ass in the county quick, cause I fucking out.
Well, for all of the reasons that I've stated in all three parts of this review, I'm going to give Apocalypse Now, the final cut, a 100 out of 100. I'm also going to throw in a bonus 100 out of 100 to Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse, for being just such a compelling documentary. And I not only recommend that everyone go out and watch Apocalypse Now, but that you also find a way to watch Hearts of Darkness. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Keeping It Real. I'm Ryan, and I will see you for the next review.
I'm trying to put Tiger Bomb on this jungle's nuts.
Go, 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 go!